In 2025, a deadly virus has infected 3/4 of the world. By the year 2032, 4.8 billion people died, leaving the land restricted for humans to survive. The scientists have lost their hope as there was no cure for a deadly virus that turned the once thriving city into a graveyard, with the infected now mindless zombies hunting for the living. People used respirator masks to avoid inhaling toxic air. The survivors built bunkers under their backyard for sleeping and storage for food. It was hard for people to accept that there was no future for them. Among the survivors, a husband and wife, Hughie and Sarah Miller, had been living in their underground bunker for several months. Life in the bunker was a constant struggle for survival. The air was thick with tension, and every sound outside their steel wall sent shivers down their spines. Hughie did everything he could to keep Sarah's spirits up, but her health was critical. The virus had already claimed too many lives, and now it was slowly taking Sarah from him. One day, Hughie left his bunker to find supplies for him and his wife. He goes for supply runs once a week. While scavenging for supplies in the city, Hughie stumbled upon a hidden compartment in an old shop. It contained a collection of books, old and dusty, with one title standing out among the rest. The author's name was James Winters, a renowned writer whose work was known for its gripping narratives and unorthodox storytelling. Curiosity piqued, Hughie dusted off the cover of the book and discovered that it was a collection of stories never released to the public. The stories were a treasure trove, a literary haven hidden away in the ruins of the city. Hughie's heart swelled with a mix of excitement and gratitude for this unexpected find. As Sarah's condition worsened, Hughie decided to read the stories to her. He sat by her side in the dimly lit room, the feeble glow of a battery-powered lamp casting shadows on the cold, steel walls. The eerie silence of the bunker was broken only by Hughie's voice as he delved into Winter's captivating tales. Hughie started to read the first story. It was about a daughter and her mother. In a small home, young Swati lived with her mother, Lakshmi. Their days were a constant struggle as they faced the harsh reality of poverty. Lakshmi, a hardworking vegetable seller, worked all day to make ends meet. However, their minimal earnings were barely enough to ensure 3 square meals a day. Lakshmi's days were spent selling vegetables in the market, but the profit she made was less. Most of her income was devoted to securing their daily food and purchasing essential supplies, such as manure for Lakshmi's trade. Despite their financial hardships, Swati harbored grand dreams. She aspired to achieve a position in life where both she and her mother would be treated with respect and dignity. Although Lakshmi dearly wished to send Swati to school, the harsh reality of their financial struggles made it an unattainable dream. The weight of their circumstances pressed heavily on Lakshmi's shoulders, and she could only hope that Swati's dreams would one day come true. Despite her own health struggles, Lakshmi harbored a selfless wish to see her daughter achieve her dreams through education. She knew that her health condition is worse and her time in this world is limited. Lakshmi held on to a singular request for her daughter's well-being. Every day after their humble meals, Lakshmi asked Swati to wash her hands in the small backyard. A plastic sheet is covered on the wall. While Swati dreamt big, she didn't realize the sacrifices her mother made for her. Swati loved circus performances and often joined her friends for a performance night. However, money was tight and she started taking small amounts from her mother without understanding the difficulties Lakshmi faced to keep her healthy and alive. As time went by, Swati couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy seeing her friends with fancy accessories. Her heart sank as she realized she couldn't afford the nice things they had. Wanting to have something special, Swati asked her mother for a pair of good shoes, only to be met with a heavy heart and a financial reality that couldn't fulfill her wish. In her frustration, Swati's emotions boiled over and she lashed out at her mother. Unaware of the struggles Lakshmi faced, Swati blamed her for the difficulties in her life. In a fit of anger, she stormed out of her home, declaring that she would never return. After wandering for hours and feeling hungry, Swati saw fancy restaurants but had no money to eat. Passing by beggars who, despite lacking basic necessities, seemed happy, playing with their parents, made Swati realize that her life wasn't so bad. Despite her struggles, she had everything she needed to survive. Feeling guilty for getting angry at her mother, Swati returned home to apologize. However, she found her mother lying down, unresponsive and with blood in her mouth. Panicking, Swati went outside, sought help, and rushed her mother to the hospital with the assistance of kind neighbors. At the hospital, the doctor shared the heartbreaking news that her mother had died from a tumor that could have been treated if detected earlier. Swati grappled with the weight of guilt, realizing the true value of her mother's sacrifices and love. Swati returned home feeling numb and empty. Hunger pangs reminded her of the harsh reality, pushing her to step outside in search of food. The local shop owner called out to her, handing over a box. He explained that her mother had given him money the day before to buy something for Svati. When she opened the box, she burst out of tears. She found a pair of shoes her mother bought for her from her precious savings. She cried in guilt for hours. As she composed herself, she decided to eat the meal she had bought. Remembering her mother's request to wash her hands in the backyard, Svati approached the washing area. To her surprise, beneath a plastic sheet, she found a collection of colorful vegetables. It dawned on her that her mother had been planning for her future all along, silently securing a path for her. Tears streamed down Svati's face as the weight of her mother's sacrifices became clear. Gratitude filled her heart as she looked up, thanking her mother for the thoughtful gesture. At that moment, Svati made a silent promise to herself and her mother: she would work hard, earn money, and use it for her education, striving to achieve the dreams her mother had envisioned for her. Her mother's love would forever be the driving force behind her success. When the story ended, Hughie could see a glimmer of joy in Sarah's tired eyes as she listened, forgetting, if only for a short while, the horrors that lurked just beyond their refuge. Hughie heart-warmed, seeing his wife happy. He couldn't believe that even as small as someone's story could bring hope, even for someone who was dying.